you must remember, international tax changes immensely, and particularly with the BEPS initiatives that have been ongoing now for a number of years. There are significant changes that are consistently taking place. The textbook prescribed to you deals with the fundamental principles of international taxation, which are not going to change. The detail of certain aspects will change and become a lot more honed and a lot more intricate. So a classic example is leading into other questions, the Pillar 1 and Pillar 2, which are two ongoing initiatives of the OECD that really commenced back in pretty much 2000, I think it's 2015. The Pillar 1 was announced, and really Pillar 1 was to look very carefully at ensuring that the country where the company's customer is located, that is the country that has the taxing rights, and then there would be, certain thresholds. Organizations with revenues of 20 billion euros or more and a profit margin of 10% or greater would typically be subject to these rules. And then over time, that threshold would be dropped down to 10 billion euros. And then Pillar 2 really was to, or is in the process still of being developed, and it's lagging somewhat because not, sort of the European Union is seen as the sort of classic example of the development of Pillar 2 because, it's a block of all these predominantly sophisticated developed countries. And basically Pillar 2 affects the largest multinationals with a revenue of 750 million euros or more per annum, where it will ensure that they pay a minimum effective tax of 15%, so that it no longer is viable, really, or necessary to do any kind of treaty shopping to try and find ways and means of reducing tax exposure in these large multinational organizations. The idea is that everybody will ultimately pay a minimum tax rate of 15%. Now, if you look at the European member states, there are vast differences. I mean, if you look at the average rates in France and Germany, those tax rates are around 30% compared to the Irish statutory rate of 12.5%, and then a very low tax rate of 9% in Hungary. So, of course, you can imagine Hungary is not interested in participating in this whole process because it is concerned that it will harm any future foreign investment into Hungary, which makes Hungary a very attractive place to expand a business or to start a business because of a very low tax rate. So with Pillar 2, in the process of developing and placing immense reporting requirements on the multinationals, when you dive deep into what it means, the estimates of well over 160 new data collection points that will have to be addressed by multinationals in providing more and more information over and above what you're already doing when it comes to transfer pricing. So the revenue authorities are placing an immense responsibility on these large multinationals who are now forced to really build very efficient data collection systems in these corporations. So, most of these large corporations have got systems tracking customer relationships and sophisticated accounting packages, and on all of those data collection points would need to be expanded and merged and sort of a lot of that information extracted to meet the new reporting requirements that are going to emerge as a result of Pillar 1 and Pillar 2. Now, I've prepared a short paper on this referencing some third-party papers, and again, it's one of these really developing international tax areas. So please look out for that information sheet. and take a look at it. In that is a very recent webinar, which runs for about an hour, 20 minutes, and quite practical. It involves two major corporations. One of them is the Uber tax desk, and they share, you know, in a very practical sense, the challenges that they are facing and what they are doing to prepare for the emergence of Pillar 2 and the fact that this minimum tax rate is going to be imposed, because you're going to have to monitor all of your different subsidiaries worldwide and make sure that each of them complies with this minimum requirement. And so you can imagine from that, there are many complexities. It's going to be an expensive process for these large multinationals to follow. So, so Pillar 1 and Pillar 2, these are two, you know, relatively new. Pillar 2 certainly emerging and changing as we speak. There will be big advances made in Pillar 2, and so we'll keep our ears close to the ground and inform you of any important developments. But of course, the place that you should track this is the OECD.org website. And as I said, I am circulating a paper with some references and additional reading materials for you.